It feels like La Vuelta is very much drawing to a close. The intensity with which each day is approached is absolutely ramping up. We know that Pico Blanco is still to come, and indeed the time trial in Madrid. But this day, stage 19, was always going to prove pivotal. And so it proved. Getting into a break, the first and foremost for many, jerseys up for grabs, of course, time gaps all important. And how big would they be at the end of a very tight course, essentially a large loop, but finishing with Moncavilla? Well, it's a famous climb, we've been here before. Real glitch getting the better of Carapaz on that occasion in 2020. Well, we are back, and indeed determined, everyone was, to form part of a breakaway. The battle was intense. It rolled on for 40 kilometres or so before finally we had 5 riders up the road. Breit and Petit from Intermarché Wanty, Del Toro from UAE Team Emirates, Mihailovic from Bahrain Victorious, and Ed Plancart from Alpecin de Koenig. Well, the scenery was absolutely spectacular, playing mostly as we did with the valleys, but with a big spike taking us up to the heavens at the end. Would be hell for somebody. Well, taking the duty for much of the day of the chase was indeed Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe, working for Primož Roglic, and determined that they would not let anyone wrestle control from them. Mihailovic was up there and doing a job as, hopefully he would think, last man standing. And in fact, when they were finally all wound in, it was of course the last peak that was indeed being contested. 9.2 kilometres of absolute hell, with the worst percentages in the last 4 kilometres. Well, calling for pace, whether it was Roglic himself or indeed his team, they couldn't help themselves, and the gap started to expand. With 2 teammates towing him up, Carapaz couldn't respond. Mas didn't want to, apparently, at this point. They were biding their time, wondering how to respond. The question was, Roglic was just too powerful, it seemed. Away he went, and in fact it was a big fissure. Already at this point he was in the lead of the race, having trailed Ben O'Connor at the start by just 5 seconds, the virtual lead handing his way. And finally, when he broke free himself, solo up the mountain, the gap just seemed to be expanding beyond belief. It needed somebody to put the fire out, and the man that decided to take on the duty was Enric Mas. Supreme effort by him. Carapaz couldn't follow. Ben O'Connor still very much there, with David Gaudu looking strong. Landa looked to be struggling yet again at this point. With 3.5 kilometres to go, suddenly Ben O'Connor started to feel the heat. Having led this race, carried that jersey for 13 stages, he was seeing it disappear up the road, and by an enormous margin. Roglic looked unhurried, impressive. And every single time the road got more difficult, he stayed planted and just tempoed his way away from everybody and to the line. Well, it was a question of what margin would he lead the race rather than anything else. Roglic coming home, looking cool, calm and collected, and about to be crowned. 2 more racing days still ahead of us, but Roglic is firmly in charge. Mas looked like he would be the man for second place today, but others rounded him, and indeed rounded off a great drive for the line. David Gaudu looked impressive. Chelmos likewise. No bonus seconds then for Enric Mas, and indeed no second place either, because I've got to tell you that Ben O'Connor was absolutely magnificent. Landa had made a good account of himself, tempoing up the climb. Carapaz looked shredded as he came home behind Dunbar and Kuss, and then Ben O'Connor. Would he have enough to maintain second place, at least for now? And the answer was yes. He did just enough to hold on to that spot, with a mighty day still to come tomorrow. Emotionally, at the end of the day, Ben O'Connor was absolutely drained. Blamed himself in the last 3 kilometres. But you can't blame anybody. When Primož Roglic is in this kind of form, he is quite simply in charge. Genius at work. And look at the gaps. 46 seconds on Gaudu and Chelmos to finish together. Enric Mas finishing in 4th place, another 4 seconds in arrears. Landa Rodriguez, and indeed the rest. It looked joyous in the sunshine. It was glad to have the blue skies back. Blue sky thinking? Not at all. Primož Roglic is a fact, and he is in control. Minute 54 on Ben O'Connor, 2 minutes and 20 on Mas. He's in the red, and surely nobody's going to take it from him. But with all the peaks tomorrow, with peaks come troughs, let's hope everyone gets through safely. A raft of climbs that have to be taken, and indeed have to be dominated. And of course, still the time trial in Madrid on Sunday. Just look at that. A shark's tooth profile like no other. It's going to be an amazing day. We'll be here. Trust you will be too.